So you see, the beauty of real estate co-ownership is that it allows you to start from where you are, right? It allows you to invest in real estate with, the little you have, right? So if you're earning a decent income and you cannot afford to buy a house right now or an apartment right now, what you can do is, start owning property using the real estate ownership strategy. you know but the thing is that, as with all forms of investing, whatever you do when it comes to investing, you have to have a strategy. For instance, real estate co-ownership is a strategy for people who want to, earn rental income and they can afford the whole property. But the question is, even when you co-own real estate, you still have to have a strategy to maximize, your income. Now let me explain what this means. So with co-ownership, you can buy 1% of a property, 2% of a property, 0.5% of the property. But you want to be able to position yourself in a way that when rent is disbursed, right, you earn a large chunk of it, you earn a substantial chunk of it. Now, when I was about making this video, I didn't think of a topic, but what I decided to talk about was what I call the 5% strategy. The 5% strategy, and it basically, would show you why it makes sense to own at least 5% of any property that you are investing in, or of any property that you are trying to co-own. Now, that doesn't mean that, if what you can afford is 1%, you shouldn't do it. No. It also doesn't mean that if what you can afford is 2%, 0.5% of the property, you shouldn't do it. No, that's not what it means. Because you basically can start from 1% of the property and then work your way up, to 5%, 10% of a property. But this is what it means now. And I'll give you an example, right? Let's say a 2-bedroom apartment somewhere in Lekki Phase 1, sells for 60 million naira, right? Sells for 60 million naira. And then this 2-bedroom apartment, when you buy it, it's going to be used, on the short-let market. It's going to be used, for short-let. Now, you decide to buy 5% of that 60 million naira 2-bedroom apartment, and then, it's that's 5% is 3 million naira. Now, let's even assume that you do not have 3 million naira, to pay at once, because hey, the whole idea of, real estate ownership is to help people own properties with ease, right? And so jointly offers like an installment option, right? So if you can't pay, immediately, if you can't pay outright for a property, you can pay it in installment. And this is mostly for properties where you're allowed to pay, in installments. Now, 3 million naira, you make a deposit of 20% for the property, and that's around 600,000 naira. But then what happens is, the balance of the 3 million naira, after making 20% deposit, you get to spread it for a period of time, maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months, depending on the maximum, payment period, right? Now, what happens is, when you are done paying for the property in 6 months thereabout, you now own 5% of this property. Now let's run the numbers. Let's say the property, like I said, is just on the short-let market, and let's say each day you charge 85,000 naira, right? And that's a conservative number. You charge 85,000 naira for people who want to use the property. And let's say we are able to achieve 60% occupancy rate. That means, 60% of the time, people are using your apartment. That means in 1 month, people use your apartment for 18 days, and then we keep that number for the whole year. Let's basically do the maths. So 60% of the time, people use your apartment. That's 18 days in a month. So 18 days, people use your apartment, and you charge 85,000 naira. That's 1,530,000 naira in 1 month. And let's multiply that by 12 months, right? 12 months, that's 18,360,000 naira. Now, if you take out 25%, and it goes into marketing and management and all that, what you will be left, as your net rental income is 75%. Now, let's multiply this number by 75%. That gives us 13,770,000 naira. Now, if what you earn is 5% of what the apartment gives, 5% of this number is 688,500. Divide that by the 3 million naira that you used to own 5% of the apartment. That is 22.95%, basically 23%. I mean, it's higher than inflation rates, higher than what most banks will give you, and it falls into the range for a high yield rental income. Do you understand? And that's the beauty of the 5% strategy. You know, at some point when you follow the 5% strategy to a particular level, you know, what now happens is that you decide to increase, you know, and then, you know, do a 7% strategy, maybe do a 10% strategy, maybe do a 20% strategy, because I expect that, you know, as you earn rental income, instead of spending this rent, you reinvest a large chunk of it into owning more properties. And if you can't start with the 5% strategy, maybe you could start with a 1% strategy and stick to it for a while, you know. And then when your income increases, what you can now do is, you know, move to maybe a 2% or a 3% strategy until you hit the 5% strategy, which then gives you substantial income, you know, anytime rent is disbursed. And that, my friend, is what I call the 5% strategy. You know, the perfect strategy to owning, you know, properties and earning substantial rent whenever you co-own properties. Guys, if you haven't signed up on Jointly, you should do that right now. And if you have, go back, log into Jointly, pick a property, and then start co-owning and start building your own real estate portfolio. All right, guys, that's it for today's video.